All right, I am here with Adam Rank. Adam, you are on your quest for breaking 80.
Yes.
So we are gonna go through a driver fitting today.
Awesome.
To get you into something that's gonna make this game a little bit easier.
You know what? I think over the last couple of weeks, the things that's given me the most trouble is the driver.
Okay.
So I'm really anxious to try some things out.
Perfect, perfect.
My current driver is actually, cracked.
Oh,
it happens.
Could be why you're having some problems with your driver.
No, I'm not. I gotta get my swing down, but also want to check out some new drivers.
Fair enough. So normally we would have Adam hit his current club just to get some baseline numbers. Since your driver is cracked, we're just gonna jump right in and start testing some stuff. So
awesome.
That's where we'll begin.
Let's go.
Okay. So Adam, the first club we're gonna test is the Callaway Elite X. Your current driver is a 10.5 degree. This is also a 10.5 degree.
Okay.
This is Callaway's version of kind of their straighter flight or more draw bias driver.
Okay.
So just to help you potentially kill some of that slice that you told me about.
Yeah.
We're gonna try that one first. We'll test it out. This is a 65 gram stiff shaft that we have in there. So should be fairly close to kind of what you currently play, but I know yours is cracked. So we'll just start with this one.
All right, looking forward to it.
Okay, Adam, so you hit the Callaway first. Ball speed's fine, 125-ish. Your backspin's a little high with your driver, so you actually have the opposite problem with a driver than we saw with your irons a while ago. Okay, so that number should be between, call it 2,000 and 3,000. You're at 3,300 right now.
Okay.
So that's gonna rob you of a bunch of distance. Your launch angle with this one's actually a little high, so almost 17 degrees. You're at 16 and a half.
Okay.
Ideally, that should be closer to 13.
Okay.
Some of that can just be due to the loft of the club.
Right.
So we might try something that's maybe a little bit lower loft. There's a lot of stuff that's really close to the green. So like your descent's really close. Your launch angle is on the upper half of the green. But I would just like to get this backspin number down. Because if we can do that, that's going to help you add a ton of distance to your drives. And ultimately, that's going to go a long way to help you shoot lower scores.
I love that.
So let's try some different heads that we can do that with. All right, Adam, so test club number 2. This is the Titleist GT2.
Okay.
So the center of gravity on this club head is slightly lower,
all right,
which should help us reduce the spin. It's actually the exact same shaft that you were trying in the other one. So we're gonna kind of just live in that 65 gram range for you right now. But let's see with moving the center of gravity around if that helps to lower the backspin kind of where we want it to be.
No, I like the look of it too. So I'm excited to try that.
Yeah, should be a little different than the Callaway for sure. So let's test it out.
All right, let's go.
All right, Adam, so the Titleist saw some really good numbers, man.
Yeah.
That was really good. So all we really did, we changed the loft. So we de-lofted it by 1.5 degrees, so we went from a 10.5 to a 9, and then we just changed the center of gravity location in the head.
Yeah.
So lower CG, ideally to lower backspin, that's exactly what we saw. So you went from 3,300 in the Callaway down to an average of around 1,700. So it's definitely on the lower end of kind of where I'd want to see it. Like I said, I was looking for between 2,000 and 3,000, but I'd much rather have you on this end of the spectrum than on the 3,000 plus side. Because you can see the difference in the distance. You're averaging a little over 250 versus with the Callaway it was right around 210. So massive change just by moving the center of gravity location. That's the biggest influence when we go through a fitting of just changing the club head. A lot of people think that the shaft has a massive influence. It's really more about where the center of gravity is in the head, where the weight is in the head, because that's going to influence the ball flight the most.
Makes sense. What about the descent angle? I know that went into the poor range.
So for a driver, for any club you're looking to hit it as far as you possibly can, which really that's the goal with the driver. You don't hear anybody walk up onto a tee box and go, this hole only calls for 260, so I'm gonna hit my 260 driver. It's like, no, I'm gonna try to hit this as far as I can, or I'm gonna hit a 3-wood or something else. Okay. So for the descent angle, 35 is kind of your ideal number. You're again, just on the low end, you're at 30 degrees. That's fine. I'm not worried about stopping power with the driver because I don't need it to stop. I need it to roll as much as it can.
Absolutely.
If this number was down at, let's say, 15 or 20, then I'd say we'd have a problem. But if it's just on the lower side of 35, not a big deal.
All right. If you're not worried, I'm not worried.
Yeah. So let's test one more club. I would like to maybe try to get this backspin closer to that 2,000 range and see what we can do. I'd also like to get your offline to be a little straighter if we can. So we may make some tweaks just to potentially fix the curvature problem. But outside of that, I'm really happy with where you are with that Titleist.
No, I was excited about that one too. Got some really good numbers out there. The distance, I mean, everybody worries about distance. That's what we wanted.
For sure. All right, Adam, so we saw a lot of success with test club number 2.
Yeah, that
Titleist was really good.
That was a fun one.
That was a good one. Let's see if we can replicate it here. So I've got you in the TaylorMade, the QI35.
Yeah.
This is just their standard head. There's 2 weight ports on there. So I put the heavy weight in the front, which is actually going to help us continue to lower that CG. So the CG is actually slightly lower in this than it was in the Titleist, but I did change the shaft on you.
Okay.
So I went with a little bit lighter shaft. So we're in a 50 gram instead of the 60 range that we were before. Still a stiff flex, but this is the Ventus Blue. So I'm just curious if we lower the CG, but potentially lighten the shaft, if that offset helps us get the backspin kind of where we want. So
all right,
let's test a few out. Let's see what we get. But this should be another good option here for you.
I can already, it feels like a rocket ship. It's ready to go.
I'm excited to see it.
It's up to me, though.
Let's get it to 275. What do you say?
I would love that.
All right, perfect.
Would love to eventually do that.
Okay, Adam, so you tried the TaylorMade. It wasn't quite the rocket ship we were hoping for.
Yeah.
Still not bad, though, like overall. Your ball speed dropped just a hair. You went from 133 to 132, so not a huge difference there. That 500 RPM jump in backspin, though, actually robbed you of quite a bit of distance.
Oh, okay.
So like you went from hitting it on average about 250, 255 to still it's going 240, which is not anything to complain about, especially when you came in with
I was
Callaway.
going to say, like, I will take a 240 drive.
Yeah.
It'd be okay.
So, I mean, either one of these, like, to be honest with you, they're both really good options. Like, if I had to pick one, I would probably tell you the Titleist is the best one for you, just based off of the numbers that we saw.
Yeah.
But either one of these would be an upgrade over what you currently have, which is a crack driver that you can't even hit.
Right.
So
that's true.
You got a couple good choices here. But any questions about just the overall fitting, how the process went, anything from a driver perspective you want to talk about?
No, I mean, when you're choosing, and again, we've talked about this with other clubs, like where you're eventually going to be, what is one number where you're like, well, considering where we're hoping to be, this is the most important thing to look for?
So I think the really cool part about drivers nowadays especially is all the adjustability that you have.
Yeah.
So you can change the loft, you can change some of the weight positions in different drivers. So to be honest with you, it's really, you're not going to make a bad decision here.
Yeah.
As a coach, if we're looking like down the road, let's say 6 months from now, your backspin number is still too low. Well, guess what? I can make some adjustments to change that.
Okay.
I could potentially add some loft to the club. That would help bring the number a little higher.
Right.
I could potentially move some weights around in the club head. That would also potentially help you get the number higher. So like, you don't need to think about it in terms of like, oh, this is absolutely like the driver I have to have 6 months from now. It's like, I can get fit for a driver today, and then also still have the adjustability down the road to get you into something where it still performs well for your game at that point.
I love that. Okay.
So that's what's really cool about fitting now versus what it was 10 years ago, where it was like, it's what you got, man. It's all we have. We can't really make any changes. So I think the Titleist is the winner for today, but really cool. Enjoyed the experience with it.
No,
hopefully this helps you with your driver woes on the golf course.
No, that would be huge. It would be fun to be playing from the fairway and 250 yards from the tee.
That would make breaking 80 a little bit easier, don't you think?
A little bit easier. A little bit easier.
Perfect.